Da-da-da, da-da-da.
You're watching Cover 2 with your host, Katie Baird.
Welcome to this week's episode of Cover 2, where we cover you, but not Deshaun Jackson. I know the set looks pretty different this week. It's because we've gone on the road and traveled to Rhode Island for the big game as first place Janelle's Jets is on the road to meet second place Penguins Rule. But we'll get more on that later. I want to take a quick time out to do a shout out to my Rhode Island set crew here who managed to make this lovely set in a very short amount of time. So thanks guys. Now let's get started with this week's lame game of the week. This week's lame game features another Rhode Island team, the Unstoppable Pats, and get your popcorn ready. Popcorn had previously beaten the Pats in Week 2's lame game. However, this time, the Pats turned the tables with a 79-57 win over Popcorn. If you're going to be in the lame game, at least you win. Tom Brady and Hines Ward led the Pats with 18 points each, but they had no one else score in the double digits. Meanwhile, Popcorn recorded their lowest score this year and had two players score only 1 point, including the Lions DST. Both teams now sit in 6-5 records, right on the edge of the playoff spot. Who's going to get it? I don't know. Now it's time for this week's highlighted score. The Abonis had the highest score this week and beat the Icy Ninjas 126-97. Matt Schaub led the Zambonis with 24 points, and Calvin Johnson had a season high of 22 points. The Ninjas did have 6 players score in the double digits, but no one higher than Mike Sims-Walker with 15 points.
Ayo.
Ayo! The win moves the Zambonis into 4th place and only 1 game behind the Ninjas. Looking good. Now let's check out this week's other scores. Janelle's Jets defeated the Tension Echoes 103-94. Tension Echoes managed to keep it close thanks to having the 2 highest scorers of this matchup, as Matt Ryan and the Saints DST both scored 21 points. But Janelle was able to overcome this by winning the battle at wide receiver and kicker to get the 9-point victory. Penguins Rule beat the Screaming Eagles 115-92. Boo, but not surprising. Penguins Rule got more than half their points from 2 players. Eli Manning had 31 points and Ricky Williams had 30. That's cheap.
That's sweet.
That's cheap.
Sweet.
The Screaming Eagles made a few bad roster decisions, as usual, which cost them the game as they ended up with 81 points on their bench. The Lucid Bogies finally scored 100 points! Yes! But they still lost to the Orlanders 105-100. Drew Brees led the Orlanders with 25 points. The Lucid Bogies only needed 7 points from Nate Washington on Monday night to come away with the win, but he only managed to score 1. Now it's time for Kickoff Corner, where we preview next week's upcoming matches. Oh, come on! No. As we've mentioned, the epic battle of the season is happening this week and has Janelle's Jets on the road to play Penguins Rule. The second place Penguins have a 5-game winning streak, and the first place Janelle's Jets have a 4-game winning streak. But one streak will continue, and one will come to an end this week. Mwah. Both teams have a chance to clinch a playoff berth. That doesn't sound like fun. This week, Janelle can clinch a playoff spot with a win or a loss by Get Your Popcorn Ready, or a loss by the Unstoppable Pats. The Penguins can also clinch a playoff spot with a win and a loss by either the Pats or Popcorn. A little complicated. Our other featured matchup pits the Zambonis against Get Your Popcorn Ready. This is a battle of 2 teams sitting at 6-5 who are fighting it out for a playoff spot. Popcorn is looking to end a 4-game losing streak, and the Zambonis want revenge for a 1-point loss to Popcorn in Week 3. Who's going to do it? One more playoff scenario to keep in mind, people. The Orlanders can be eliminated with an Orlanders loss and a Zambonis win and an Unstoppable Pats win and an Icy Ninjas win. Unlikely, but it is possible. Now it's time for message board post of the week. This week's post again comes from the owner of Lucid Bogies, Nate Bogadane. It's good to see that though he's out of the playoff race, he's still an avid message board poster. Thanks, Nate. No, not you, Henko. Bogadane. Henko, where you been? Quote, well, this past week the Lucid Bogies reached a milestone that has this memorable season resting on it. We finally hit 100 points in a single week! Woohoo! Too bad we didn't exceed 100 points, otherwise I would have had a chance. The milestone came at a loss by 5 measly points. But such is life, and exactly the way my season has unfolded. In a week where my star receiver actually decided to show up and put up points, I falter with my choice of putting in my number 2, and alas, his replacement put up a giant goose egg. Oh, why can't I not have the foresight to know who to put in? Well, even if I did, I still would be at a lousy 3-8. Now the only thing left to achieve is to spoil someone else's chances for a playoff berth. So look out, all you other squads, the bogey's coming for ya. End quote. That's really nice, Nate. You know, good job. Now let's move on to this week's Owner Spotlight. This week's Owner Spotlight is with someone who's been getting a lot of airtime with us lately, Nathaniel Bogadane, owner of the Lucid Bogies. Nate is the quiet, handsome twin. His brother John assures us that they are identical and not fraternal, but we think John's just jealous. Nathaniel hopes to be a chiropractor by 2020. I would have thought it would have been an optometrist. He's set to graduate from Penn State next month. He likes bowling, collecting records, and listening to Pink Floyd. Nice. This is the first year in the league for the Lucid Bogies, and with a 2-9 record, they left themselves with much room to improve in the years ahead. We were able to score an exclusive interview with Nate the other day. I think we have the footage here. Let's go take a look.
Good evening, Cover 2 fans. Tonight we have with us the owner of the Lucid Bogies. Some say he's the reason Lindsay Lohan is in rehab, and that he's the secret lover of Mark Wahlberg. Anyway, let's have a hand for the owner of the Lucid Bogies.
Alright, Bob. Naked Bogadane, I would like to welcome you to the show here.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. First question. We all want to know, what exactly is the story behind your team name, the Lucid Bogies?
Well, some like to call me a bogey, because I'm unidentifiable. But I also can't be seen. So there you go.
Very deep, very deep. Next question. Is it true that you and your brother both blink at the same exact time, despite your each location?
That's a very in-depth question. Studies have shown, yes.
Next. Is it true that you once called Janelle a stupid bloody box?
Who's Janelle?
Well, you know Janelle, the famous character girl on that famous show, The Big Brother.
So I was a Big Brother fan? Why?
Fair enough. Next question. Have you ever been to a Penn State versus Ohio State tailgate, and why?
Not that I can remember.
Is it true that you helped develop plans for the Death Star?
Next question.
How do you feel about your team making the playoffs?
Playoffs? Playoffs? I'm trying to win a game.
And lastly, there are confirmed reports that you are going to accept a coaching job of the football team of the once mighty CB South by Southwest elusive Cornish Game Hens. Can you give us a little bit of insight on that?
I don't know. What are the hours?
Wow, that's our show for this week. Thanks for tuning in to Cover 2, where we cover you and your fantasy league. See you next time, and until then, Uncle Steve, the Devil Dogs are wicked awesome. Now I gotta go park my car in the yard and go to a party. Bye!